Yes, Judge.
Good afternoon. This is Judge Alyssa Perez, resuming the criminal docket for the 210th District Court for December 13th, 2022. All matters being heard today are being heard in accordance with all emergency orders and directives regarding COVID-19. In addition to that, we are streaming all matters live via YouTube for public viewing. Mr. Maruco, would you call our next case, please?
In cause number 2021-0D01663, State of Texas versus Jacob Guerrero. Announcement of counsel, please.
Samantha Rogg on behalf of the state. State Attorney, Your Honor.
Your Honor, Daniel Robledo represent my client, Mr. Guerrero. We're ready, Your Honor.
And Mr. Judge Robledo, do you recognize your client appearing here remotely?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
And Mr. Guerrero, do you recognize your attorney, Mr. Robledo?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay, and so I have us scheduled for a plea today. Mr. Guerrero, is that your understanding of what we're doing here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. In order to get started with your plea, I need to swear you in. Would you raise your right hand, please? Sir, do you swear or affirm that any testimony you provide will be the truth and the whole truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. You can put your hand down. Would you state your name and date of birth for the record?
Jacob Guerrero, August 14 of 99.
Mr. Guerrero, as I mentioned, we're scheduled for a plea in this case. So there should have been documents you reviewed with your attorney. Do you recall reviewing documents with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And how, Judge Robledo, how did you all go over the plea documents for today?
Your Honor, I went ahead and sent over the plea papers over to the federal institution. And then Mr. Patterson had arranged the meeting so I can have a Zoom hearing with Mr. Guerrero about the plea papers, and I went over each of the plea papers.
Thank you very much. Mr. Guerrero, did you have ample opportunity, you know, I know it's kind of done remotely, to speak with your attorney about all of the plea documents today?
Yes, ma'am.
You had all the time you needed to ask any questions regarding those documents?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you understand everything contained within those documents?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you sign them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you, I don't know if I already asked this, did you understand everything contained within those documents?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Judge, have you had more than 10 days to prepare a defense in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
And of course, we've gone over how you explained the plea papers. Do you believe that he has understood the admonishments, rights, and consequences of giving up those rights by entering his plea today?
Yes, Your Honor, he does. He asked, he had asked some questions and I had answered them, and also I believe he is competent to stand here before this court.
Okay. Mr. Guerrero, are you satisfied with your attorney's representation of you?
Yes, ma'am.
And your attorney has no questions regarding your competency. I need to ask you, have you ever been found mentally incompetent by any court?
No, I have not.
Ever been examined by a doctor or psychiatrist who's found you mentally ill?
No, ma'am.
So based on your testimony, your attorney's representations, and my observations of you, I'm going to find that you are competent to enter your plea today. Sir, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you born?
El Paso, Texas.
Okay, in this case, you're charged by indictment with the offense of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. That is a second-degree felony. Sir, to that charge, what is your plea, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Are you making your plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am.
I will find you are making your plea freely and voluntarily. Ms. Rago, would you summarize the evidence, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Cause number ending in 1663, State of Texas versus Jacob Guerrero. If the state of Texas were to proceed to trial, the state would have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that on or about the 5th day of June, 2021, in El Paso County, in the state of Texas, Jacob Guerrero did then and there intentionally or knowingly threaten Anwar, A-N-U-A-R, Contreras with imminent bodily injury, and did then and there use or exhibit a deadly weapon during the commission of said assault to with a firearm. And it's further presented that the said defendant used and exhibited a deadly weapon to with a firearm during the commission and immediate flight from said offense. Your Honor, the plea recommendation is 2 TDC. This is to run concurrent with the federal case, which is 2.22 CR 00050-01 MIS, and Your Honor, this is with a deadly weapon finding. At this point, the state moves to enter into evidence States Exhibit 1 and 2 if there's no objections, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Without objection, states 1 and 2 are admitted. Judge Robledo, is that your understanding of the plea agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
And Mr. Guerrero, is that your understanding as well?
Yes, ma'am.
I understand that the plea agreement is not binding on the court. However, if I were to reject it, I would allow you to withdraw your plea. If I follow the plea agreement, you may not appeal this case except on matters raised by written motion and ruled on before trial or by permission of the court. The next document I'm going to ask you about is the one-page document entitled The Trial Court Certification of Your Right to Appeal. It is a document that explains your appeal rights. Because this is a plea bargained or negotiated case, you do not have an automatic right of appeal. Mr. Guerrero, do you recall reviewing the trial court certification with your attorney and signing that document?
Yes, ma'am.
It was signed by your attorney and signed by the court as well.
Yes, ma'am.
On your plea of guilty and the evidence introduced at this time, I will accept your plea and find the evidence substantiate your guilt. I will find you guilty of the offense of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and I will sentence you according to the plea agreement at 2 years confinement. The Texas Department of Criminal Justice Institutional Division, you will receive credit for any and all time that you have been in jail, even I guess on the federal case. So he's been in federal custody, I think, for a good period of time. So anything that he has, Judge, that is from date of offense, June 5th, 2021, okay, he will receive credit for towards this sentence in this case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Is there anything further, Ms. Rago or Judge Robledo?
No, Your
Nothing
Honor.
from the state, Your Honor.
Okay, if there's nothing further, then you all are excused. Good luck to you, Mr. Guerrero.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Be careful. May I be excused, Judge?
You may take care, Judge.
Stay safe. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, do we have, is it Mr. Flores?
Yes. Please introduce. Is Mr. Flores there?
Yes, he's here. Do I bring him up now? Hello, Your Honor.
Yes, please. Hi, thank you, Maggie.
This way, sir. Stand right here. That's the camera.
Mr. Flores?
Alyssa.
Yep, you can hear me okay? Great. Okay, let's get started.
In cause number 2022-0D00336, State of Texas versus Jose Manuel Flores. Announcement of council, please.
Samantha Rogg on behalf of the state. State's ready, Your Honor.
Matthew Pospisil on behalf of the defense, Your Honor. My client is present at the virtual police center. I'm present over Zoom, Your Honor. Ready to proceed.
Okay, and so Mr. Flores is appearing remotely from the police center. Mr. Flores, I have you scheduled for a plea today. Is that what you're understanding we're doing? Okay, so in order to proceed with your plea, I'm going to need to swear you in. Would you raise your right hand, please? Sir, do you swear or affirm that any testimony you provide will be the truth and the whole truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. You can put your hand down. If you would, please state your name and date of birth for the record.
Jose Manuel Flores, 7/16/1986.
Mr. Flores, as I mentioned, we're scheduled for a plea, so there are documents that you should have reviewed with your attorney, the first of which is marked State's Exhibit number 1. Those are the plea papers in this case. Within that document, you're guaranteed certain rights, including the right to remain silent, the right to trial by jury, the right to counsel, the right to confront and cross-examine witnesses, and the right to call witnesses on your behalf and in your defense. Mr. Flores, do you recall reviewing State's Exhibit number 1 with your attorney and signing that document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand everything contained within that document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Pospisil, have you had more than 10 days to prepare a defense in this case?
I have, Your Honor.
And did you explain the plea papers to your client?
I did, Your Honor.
You believe he has understood the admonishments, rights, and consequences of giving up these rights by entering his plea today?
That is my understanding, Judge.
Mr. Flores, are you satisfied with your attorney's representation of you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Pospisil, any reason to believe your client is not presently competent to enter his plea?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Flores, have you ever been found mentally incompetent by any court?
No, Your Honor.
Ever been examined by a doctor or psychiatrist who has found you mentally ill?
No, I haven't, Your Honor.
Okay, so based on your testimony, your attorney's representations, and my observations of you, I'm going to find that you are competent to enter your plea. Sir, are you a U.S. citizen?
I am, Your Honor.
Where were you born?
Paso, Texas.
Okay, in this case, you were charged by indictment with a third-degree felony offense of driving while intoxicated, third or more offense. Sir, to that charge, what is your plea? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Are you making your plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
will find you're making your plea freely and voluntarily. Ms. Rago, would you summarize the evidence, please?
Yes, Your Honor. State of Texas versus Jose Manuel Flores and cause number ending in 0336. If the state of Texas were to proceed to trial, the state would have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that on or about the 16th day of January 2021 in El Paso County in the state of Texas, Jose Manuel Flores did then and there operate a motor vehicle in a public place while the said defendant was intoxicated. And it's further presented in and to said court that the prior commission of the offense, the on or about the 10th day of April of 2006, and cause number 2006 0D00485 in the 243rd District Court in El Paso County, the defendant was convicted on an offense relating to driving a motor vehicle while intoxicated. In addition, on the 5th day of January of 2007, and cause number 2006 0D03433 in the 243rd District Court in El Paso County, the defendant was convicted of an offense relating to operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated. The plea agreement, Your Honor, is 7 years adult probation, underlying sentence is 10 years, $2,000 fine, probate 1,000, 300 hours of community service, 30 days ACOP, must get permission with the court to drive, UABA, DWI repeat offender school, victim impact panel, court costs, and all other standard terms. At this time, the state moves to enter into evidence. It's Exhibit 1 and 2 if there's no objections.
No objection, Your Honor.
States 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Pospisil, is that your understanding of the plea agreement?
That is, Your Honor.
And Mr. Flores, is that your understanding of the plea agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
I understand that the plea agreement is not binding on the court. However, if I were to reject it, I would allow you to withdraw your plea. If I follow the plea agreement, you may not appeal this case except on matters raised by written motion and ruled on before trial or by permission of the court. The next document I'm going to ask you about is the one-page document entitled The Trial Court Certification of Your Right to Appeal. It is a document that explains your appeal rights. Because this is a plea, bargained, or negotiated case, you do not have an automatic right of appeal. Mr. Flores, do you recall reviewing the trial court certification with your attorney and signing that document?
Yes, it
was signed by your attorney and signed by the court as well. So on your plea of guilty and the evidence introduced, I will accept your plea and at this time find the evidence substantiates your guilt. I will find you guilty of the offense of driving while intoxicated, third or more offense, and I will assess your punishment at 10 years confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Institutional Division that will be suspended for a period of 7 years of community supervision. There will be a $2,000 fine. $1,000 of that will be probated, 300 hours of community service. You may not operate a motor vehicle. 30 days, I have down 30 days as a condition of probation. I don't recall if I heard that earlier.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, 30 days. Mr. Flores, I do allow you to complete the ACOP days over the entirety of your probation time. Okay, so at some point over the course of your probation, you need to complete those days. DWI repeat offenders, victim impact panel, urine breath analysis, and all other standard conditions. If there ever becomes an issue, Mr. Pospisil, where your client has a valid driver's license, insurance, and is going to request to be operating a motor vehicle, he needs to come back to the court. Okay, Mr. Flores, you do not have permission to drive a motor vehicle. If you do find that you need to do that, you have to come back and ask the court for permission, and we'll have a hearing on it. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Mr. Pospisil, Ms. Rago, anything further?
Nothing
from
for the
defense
state.
judge. Sorry.
Okay. No worries. Thank you very much. Good luck to you, Mr. Flores.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Pineda, what's up?
Your Honor, I just wanted to ask if this particular case, and I apologize if I missed it, will it be running concurrent with his current probation cases?
What
Yes,
is the
Your Honor.
probation for?
It should be an ag assault with a deadly weapon.
Yes,
Did we have anything filed there?
that's what I'm checking, Judge. I don't see an MTR. I don't believe there's a motion filed.
Is that 1557? I'm sorry, or is it 1294?
Yes, I have the 1257. And also the 1294.
Had we discussed this case already? I did not see the probation cases on here.
We had, it was my understanding that this would be running concurrent with his other probation cases, Your Honor. He had conducted this about a year ago, the ag assaults.
Do you have any kind of case summary? I mean, or history there, Carla, of what?
I didn't, Your Honor. I didn't request a summary, but I can look. I spoke to Mr. Flores yesterday. It was late already. And he's the one that let me know he was on probation. So I that's how I knew. I just didn't have a chance this morning. But he does have, it looks like he has the monitor already, Judge. Oh, I'm sorry. You allowed him to drive. Allowed to drive with valid, there was a modification that was submitted back in June. And I know, as per my conversation with Mr. Flores yesterday late, like I mentioned, he did mention to me that you had given him permission, but I just listened to the plea, obviously, and you said no driving.
Yeah, well, that's because, we had not, or at least I'm not recalling that we had conferenced these all together in terms of accomplishing this plea today. I also do not see, did we actually have a hearing on November 17th? No. We did not, did we? Because I think I was out that day. Let me go back. Mr. Flores, do you have a valid driver's license?
I don't, ma'am.
Okay, so you shouldn't be driving anyway. Can you see quickly, Carla, if there's what the last update was in terms of the probation cases?
Let's see, Judge, I have. It wasn't discussed in front of the court, Judge. This was back on November 17th. I just have the only notation I made that day was attorney and ADA discussed the case. They have the pending DWI third, and he was pending travel permission. Request permission for him to drive. But I'm not sure.
I'm not seeing, oh yeah, I was out of the office on the 17th of November. And so that was the last probation. Was there a hearing prior to that?
I don't see anything, Judge.
I see a modification back in June.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
When did he pick up the DWI? We had a probation status hearing on May 12th.
12th, yes, Judge. Sorry, I just want to let me check what I've done out.
I believe the date of offense for the DWI was January of 2020, Your Honor.
Oh, it was a very old one.
It was an old one that got filed after he went on to probation.
Got it. Then that's why I'm thinking. Okay. Bueno, then I'm not going to ask anything else.
Okay.
I'll leave it like that. All right. Okay. All right. Then we're good to go.
Perfect.